Our first presentation is by Joji Muramoto. He's an associate professor at the Department of Environmental Sciences at the University of California, Santa Cruz. He's been studying soil fertility and soil-borne pathogens and disease management in organic strawberry and vegetable production systems in coastal California for the past couple decades. His co-author is a farmer, Steve Pedersen. Steve is the co-owner of High Ground Organics, an organic family farm in Watsonville, California area. His top priorities as a fruit grower are producing high quality, flavorful, nutritious fruits and vegetables to nourish his customers and maintaining a vibrant, clean, healthy environment on and around his farm system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. My name is Joji Muramoto of UC Santa Cruz, and sitting back there, please come from Mr. Steve Pedersen of High Ground Organics. It is a pleasure and honor to be here to share our experiences on USDA-funded organic farming research project. We both thank the organizers for inviting us to the conference. And David asked us to talk about the impacts of our project, which is our focus this morning, rather than the content of the project. So it's kind of a challenging subject, but we'll do our best. And as you see here, we have many collaborators, UC Santa Cruz being the host institutions, and we have collaborators from UC Cooperative Extensions, UC Davis, and some farmers, and NGOs like Community Alliance of Family Farmers, and the ALBA, local organization, and CCOF. So the outline of my talk here, I'm going to talk about a little bit of background of California strawberry industry and organic strawberry production, and then talk about the Organic Research Network project started 2004 and ended 2009, and the things. And then Steve Pedersen is going to talk about takeaway lessons from the project from a grower's perspective. So strawberry production in California. We have about 38,000 acres of strawberries in the state, and $1.9 billion in values, which represent almost 90% of the U.S. production. And then the very high yield, 68,000 pounds per acre, equals 76 metric tons per hectare. There are two factors which allows us to do this kind of high production. The first one is the climate, Mediterranean climate with mild, dry summer in coastal California. As you see there, Santa Cruz climate during summer very dry, but the maximum temperature in the red is just the middle 20s, 20 degrees Celsius. And the second, which allows strawberries to flower and produce fruits from the spring to the late fall continuously. That's a long season. That long season allows them to have a high yield. And the second factor is pre-plant fumigation with methyl bromide. But as many of you know, methyl bromide is supposed to be phased out very soon. And then, but this method to kill soil-borne disease and weeds allow the California system to be very much productive. Now I have a poster presentation in the other room about biological alternative for methyl bromide fumigation for those who are interested in. Oops, sorry. And talking about organic strawberries, this is a very early experiment in California, side-by-side comparison of organic and conventional strawberry experiment done late 80s, 87 to 1990s by Steve Griezmann. This is a time the collaborative grower here, Jim Cochran at Swanberry Farm, is probably the first organic commercial strawberry grower in the state, in the country. And since then, organic strawberry acreage in California is increasing. So right now, 2011, it's about 5.8% of strawberry production area are organic. So in other words, it took about 20 years to reach to 6% level. And now we see do not spray kind of sign and everywhere in our area. So before I talk about our project, the program that funded our project is kind of unique. USDA, at that point, it's called Integrated Organic Program. It was established with the initiation of USDA National Organic Standard in 2002. And the three different distinct, very unique character of the program. First one is research has to be on certified organic fields or transitional fields. That's important. And the second one, the growers have to be involved from the beginning of the project to the end, from the designing of the experiment to the evaluation of the project. And the third one is the program encourage interdisciplinary and interinstitutional project using systems approach. So our project was funded in 2004. PI was Steve Griezmann. And although California organic agriculture is being grown rapidly, there was a very limited scientific research base. So the goals were strengthen an existing organic research and extension network, and to develop integrated fertility and pest management strategy to minimize negative impact of agriculture on natural ecosystems and improve the economics viability of organic farming. And we have a lot of collaborators, as I showed in the first slide, and from many disciplines: agroecology, soil science, plant pathology, and economists, and different specialists. And it contains 10 different studies. I don't mean to have you guys read all through, but 4 out of 10 related to fertility management, and then 3 are related to insect pest management, and 2 are on soil-borne disease management and economic assessment. So I'm just a little bit of outcome, and as a case study, talk about the nitrogen management in organic strawberries in the Central Coast. It's very challenging because of several reasons. First, winter rains comes soon after transplanting of strawberries in November. So which means once we apply pre-plant fertilizers, if it's mineralized too quickly, we lose most of the nitrogen during the rainy season. And secondly, probably many of you share these challenges, unpredictability of nitrogen mineralization in organic system. Thirdly, strawberries long growth period, well, shorter than apples, but and the high cost of organic fertilizers. Here's one example of the study we did during the project, and this green curve shows the soil inorganic nitrogen changes in the topsoil. This is 100 kilograms per hectare in topsoil. So this is when strawberry are transplanted in November. And this soil inorganic nitrogen changes, some of ammonium nitrate. And this is a plant nitrogen uptake. And this is shows the precipitation during the winter rainy season. What you see here is the when the grower transplanted strawberries in November, there's a huge amount of inorganic nitrogen existed in the soil already. And once rain hits, it's dramatically lost. Basically, we don't monitor where do we lost, but probably the combination of leaching, runoff, and denitrification, and probably small part could be immobilized. But this loss is huge compared to nitrogen uptake by plants like this. So this shows the significant asynchrony of nitrogen supply and nitrogen demand in organic system. So how can we better synchronize nitrogen supply and nitrogen demand was one of the theme of this nitrogen management study. And we did 4 seasons of randomized block split plot trials with in-season nitrogen as a main plot and pre-plant nitrogen as a subplot with 4 replicates in Watsonville. At the end, we learned something. And first thing is pre-plant nitrogen has to be a moderate amount. If we apply too much, chances are high to lose during the winter season. And the winter rain season, amount of rain, it's hard to predict, but year by year varies a lot. But since we cannot predict amount of rain, it should be moderate. And it turns out to be dry winter, we can start supplement fertilizer early. That's a more make sense approach. And in season nitrogen, we tried different rate, and we found out to be this range found out to be nice. And speaking of impact of the project, for this project, we did a pre and post project survey among the participants. We have about 18 participants, and we surveyed at the end of the project, ask about have them evaluate the project. And 15 out of 15 met or exceeded their expectation, and 3, most of the expectations were met. And researchers commented, like, motivated by a desire to build community, increase opportunities to collaborate, improve linkages between farmers and researchers, improve access to and exchange of information. And growers said appreciated the many opportunities for interaction with researchers, felt the project provided useful information, and either reinforced or changed practices used on their farms. Extension agents said successful collaboration improved knowledge of organic production and the impact it had on growers in the area. And the one advisor said there has been a quantum leap in the knowledge obtained about strawberry fertility. The study has become a standard and is routinely referred to by growers, researchers, and industry professionals. And the cover page of Organic Strawberry Production Manual just published. I haven't received my author copy yet, but this is not a full production product of the project. But many other authors also contributed, but a lot of outcomes from the project is included in this book. And I have flyers, so for those who are interested in finding later. Okay. This another impact, or this project is continuing, actually. We got the second ORA grant last year as a kind of expansion of the project. PI being Carol Shannon, and then lots of members, 4 project staff, 17 researchers and extension collaborators, 15 growers, and 2 industry collaborators. And here, this project, we have pre and post farming practice survey to evaluate, to measure the project impact more officially. The goal being expand and strengthen the research extension farmer network of organic production and evaluate the performance of crop rotation. Being organic means we have to have a rotation system under National Organic Program. So what kind of rotation the best in terms of yields, disease pressure, disease control, and nitrogen management, and carbon sequestration. And also we have experiments about system-based insect pest management and the life cycle assessment to evaluate different different organic practices carbon footprint. With that, Steve, your turn.
So this one is forward. Okay. Great. I am very happy to be here. This is great. A lot of really good information so far. So I don't have any fancy tables or anything. I basically just have a series of slides. I'm going to give a brief overview of our farm and then talk about the nature of our cooperation in the project that we did with Joji. We, as Joji was saying, we're located in Watsonville. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive south of San Francisco. It's on the coast. We're about 2 miles inland from the coast. It has a strong maritime influence, so it keeps it quite cool all through the growing season. We are a direct market farm. We sell almost everything that we grow direct to the consumer. We have a large CSA, or a subscription program, where we deliver boxes to between 800 and 900 families a week. We also have a small farm stand that's gotten quite popular. It's right off of Highway 1, which is a real heavily traveled thoroughfare near us. We farm at 3 different locations, about 45 acres. This is taken from the rooftop of our garage, looking out into the fields. This is our home site, which we've owned since the year 2000. We actually lease an additional 11 acres. This is at the Redmond House, which is kind of a well-known old Victorian on the outskirts of Watsonville. And a couple of years ago, we actually purchased a 23-acre parcel that's a little bit inland. Because of the CSA, customers actually like to get warm season vegetables. It's really hard to grow tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and stuff where we're at because of the cold coastal influence. So we purchased another parcel that's a little bit inland. It's got warmer temperatures, and we actually put up about 1.5 acres of high tunnels to grow the peppers and eggplants and things that really like the extra heat in. That's another picture of that location. We have a lot of events for our CSA members. This is a fall harvest festival that we have every year. I'll go through these real quickly. You'll notice up till now we've had lots of pictures of vegetables. We were primarily a vegetable farm to begin with, and every year we've actually done the CSA since we started farming, and we do a survey to our customers to ask what vegetables they'd like to get more of, and what they'd like to see more. And fruit was always very large. That was top of the list of the things that people wanted to see more of in their boxes. So we branched out into strawberries. Actually, it's been more than 10 years ago, and that was kind of a no-brainer in our area because there's a very large infrastructure for growing strawberries, including UC extension agents. There's a lot of information sharing between growers. The whole infrastructure is there, so it was kind of easy for us to branch out into growing strawberries, and that's become a real economic mainstay for our farm ever since. Every year we grow about 3 acres of strawberries that we grow on a 5-year rotation. So we've got roughly 15 acres of land that's appropriate for the strawberries, and we rotate them around on a 5-year rotation. And we've been branching out. So 3 years ago we put in a block of southern highbush blueberries, and those are just coming into production now. They're working out really, really well. We put in 4 different varieties, and we're kind of getting it narrowed down. We're probably going to expand into planting more blocks of them once we find out the varieties that do real well for us. So that's been really exciting. This is when we planted, and that's actually what the block looks like now with the bird netting up. So some more blueberry pictures. And we're also planting some tree fruit. So we planted a block of pears actually 3 years ago as well. We planted mainly heirloom pears or French butter pears, and they're just coming into production too. And they're actually doing real well. We have a lot of real heavy clay, poorly drained soils, and the pears are quite hardy and well adapted for that. So. And we're getting into, we planted a block of apples too, which is a sort of an interesting experiment. As the earlier speaker was saying, we definitely get scab in the Watsonville area. It's a very moist coastal area, so scab is a constant issue, and I don't always get my act together to do the sprays during winter. So whether that'll fit into our system or not remains to be seen. But we are starting to pick, and the customers definitely enjoy the fruit. So this is a picture. It's a little dark to see, but I sort of wanted to use this to transition into our involvement and to kind of give the big picture of why we decided to cooperate on this issue, the fertility management project with Joji. This shows a couple of the things that we do. We take our stewardship quite seriously on the farm. Every year we plant approximately 80% of our acres out to overwintered cover crops. That's a mix of legumes and cereals in the front. And on the right side of the photo, you can see what's in our riparian corridor. When we first got our home farm, that actually was completely bare and had eroded severely from past farming practices there. In the background, you can see Harkin Slough. In Watsonville, there's a series of what they call the 5 fingers of the freshwater slough system. And we're right on what's pretty much the largest and least disturbed of those 5 fingers. And it's a waterway that's been highly impaired over the years mainly by the agricultural practices that surround it. I have another picture here. scenes like this are quite common around the Watsonville area. There's lots of poor management as far as erosion, and that has a huge impact. There's a lot of nutrient loading of the waters every year. We seem to get a big algal bloom and a large fish die off in the sloughs, which is really a shame. All around us in the back there, you can see large acreages of conventional strawberry plantings. So, realizing that we farm on such a small scale, it's the impact that we can have on the situation is always going to be fairly small. So, philosophically, we sort of decided that using our farm as a model actually is the best that we can do, and that sort of drove us in the direction of cooperating on this project. And to talk specifically about strawberries, Joji touched on it a lot. They have a lot of challenges as far as nutrient management goes. We actually typically plant in November and the early part of December. So the plants are in the ground during the rainiest time of year, which means that any nutrients that are extra, as Joji was saying, often get flushed off right into the waterways. So I'll move on quickly to the nature of our involvement. We definitely were involved in setting up the trial from the start. Joji and Mark Bolda, who we cooperated with, were fantastic in getting the information to us from emails and consulting with us in the design of the trials. We had a lot of input on the practicality of how we were going to lay it out into the field. So it was a great working relationship. It worked really well. A couple of slides that just show the benefits and the drawbacks of our cooperation. It's been great cooperating with Joji and the other researchers because it keeps us in an information loop. And even if it isn't information that's derived directly from this project, it keeps us in a loop where a lot of informal information is transferred, and it's really helped our farming practices a lot. The results that were derived from this project are specific to our site and conditions, which is huge too, because I'm sure, as all of you know, the replicating trials and projects on different sites means oftentimes very different results. So having specific information for our site was great. Again, it gave us an opportunity to use our farm as a model, and it forced me to be a better farmer in some ways when you really have to be quite specific about how much fertilizer you're applying. And for the trials, it keeps you on your toes, and I think it made me a sharper farmer in that way. The drawbacks, it consumes a lot of my time answering emails and consulting with the design. It consumes accrued time. We had to keep track of yield data and weigh the good berries versus the bad berries. It takes up space, and conceivably it can reduce yield if you're doing replications of with less fertility than you would normally use. It can affect yield, but that was all quite minor. All in all, I would say that the benefits definitely outweighed the drawbacks. The takeaway lessons, how it affected our farming practices. I think now we use about half the amount of pre-plant fertilizer as we initially would have, and we time fertigation applications to coincide much more with the growth of the berry plants, which means that we start them and continue them straight through the growing period, so that we try to keep the nutrients in balance with the plants as they uptake it. So. And I think that's about all I've got.